Someone will have to take the first shot without Jeff here. We'll go ahead with his colleague there, Jake Curtis from Cal Sports Report. Go ahead.
Yeah, Colorado had been just a running team until this past week when their passing game came alive a little bit. Can you just talk about, does that change your approach at all defensively?
They had done a really good job running the ball throughout the season. As you mentioned, they have some good players there as well. And then this past week they got some guys loose down the field. They got the ball on the perimeter a little bit more to some of those wideouts, and they made some explosive plays. So, they had done some of that previously, but it showed up a little more this past week.
Okay, Jake, you good?
One other follow. They got a passing offense that includes Montana and Rice. Is that a problem?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny you say that. We kind of noticed that the other day as well. But those guys are good football players, and we know them well through recruiting. But it's not every day that you get that combination. And the previous combination that included those two is pretty lethal.
All right, Steve Croner from the San Francisco Chronicle.
Just assuming the weather does get wet on Saturday, does that change your game plan much?
No, not a ton. I mean, this game's meant to be played in the elements, and it's kind of one of the great things about football. We practice in the elements today, and I think there's always considerations given if it's kind of overwhelming. I've been in some of those games where the elements really dictate kind of what you do offensively, defensively, because it gets so extreme. But I don't know that that's going to be the case this weekend. We'll have to wait and see.
Kind of a follow up. I mean, the kind of the conventional wisdom I think is you run the ball. If it's wet, you run the ball more because the passing game is a little bit more fragile. But I've heard other people say that, the passing game actually works in the rain, particularly because defensive backs are more likely to slip than receivers are. How do you look at it? How do you look at that?
I think both have merit. I mean, I think, it depends on kind of how extreme the elements are. But I've been a part of those where it really turned into a passing game because it is harder for the defender, when he doesn't know where the guy's going. I mean, to react to somebody, you got to make quick, sudden, explosive movements to cover people. And so that can come up as well. Now we have a great surface. And again, unless it becomes an extreme downpour or something like that, I don't see that being a major factor.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go to David Bush from Bear Insider.
Hello, Justin. Just anything new on the injury front? McCade's still good to go?
Yeah, McCade's good to go. Let's see, who else were you going to ask about? DeCarlos probably game time. Lou Hearn's good to go. So.
Okay. And just how, with Aaron out for the season, or Stanley out for the season, how is the nose tackle position gone? How have you guys coped with that, do you think? Well,
I think those guys, some of those younger guys, Jaden Roberts has flashed with some, of his potential that we saw early on. He's still developing as a player. He's very strong. He's inexperienced, so he's making some mistakes, but I think he's continuing to get better. Ricky Correa has shown some good things. I think Ethan Saunders has really showed up and he's improving week by week. So those young defensive linemen, really every rep they take, they seem to be getting better, which is exactly what we need them to do.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, looks like we'll go back to Trace Travers from Rivals.
Yeah, Coach, heard a couple people that have been raving about Femi and his work ethic through the early part of this season. And he's a guy who I believe just turned 18 as well last month. How, excited for his future are you?
Yeah, we're really excited about Femi's future. You mentioned the work ethic, and I think the word that comes to mind as soon as he stepped on campus is just eager. I mean, Femi is eager to do everything, anything and everything, here at Cal Football. I mean, you talk about meetings, workouts, practice, walkthroughs, all that. He just is really plugged in, and he wants to do it. He wants to get it right. And he's still a young guy, and he's learning a lot at a rapid pace, but he is, that drive and want to is noticeable by everybody, his teammates, the strength staff, obviously us as coaches, but everybody in the building recognizes the drive that Femi has.
Thank you.
Hey, guys, anybody else? Any final questions? Give you about 5 seconds here. Okay, looks